Luigi's Mansion is by far one of Nintendo's most creative games and my personal favorite Mario game. The game is filled with many mysteries and secrets, and it even has a beta that's more interesting than its final product. So today, I thought I should do an Iceberg video. If you don't know how icebergs work, they are images of mysteries of a certain piece of media that get darker and more obscure the farther down you go. But that's enough chit-chat. Let's begin. Boarded up doors. For this entry, I think there are two possibilities on what this is. It could be the Area 3 door, which leads to the secret treasure room, or the boarded up doors in the E3 demo. The boarded up doors in the E3 demo were rooms that were unfinished at the time, and they didn't want people getting into unfinished areas. However, if I were to bet on anything, it would probably be the secret boarded up door in Area 3. 5 areas. I'm not exactly sure what this entry is referring to, but I think it might have to do with the fact that there could have been 5 areas in the game, but it was cut down to 4, or it's referring to a poorly written creepypasta or a copypasta that was about some guy's disc getting screwed up and getting teleported to Area 5. And if you're wondering what happens at the end of that creepypasta, let's just say Mario commits die. Mario is playable. This is referring to the unused B Mario model found in the game's files. It has some animations that can be put on Luigi, and it has its own unique set of animations. The model is also separate from the one that's actually used in the game, and its proportions are stretched out to be just like Luigi's. Now about the playable part. This could be talking about the unused multiplayer mode found in the game using action replay codes, or it just means there's a way to play as Mario in the base game, but I'm pretty sure it's talking about the unused multiplayer mode. The Space World 2000 beta. I'm gonna be a bit nitpicky with this, but the thing is that what was shown off at Space World 2000 was actually an FMV or full motion video and not an actual beta build of the game. The stuff shown in the FMV could have been in the game during development, but we have no way of knowing. If only the Luigi's Mansion beta was in that Nintendo Giga Leak during the summer. 23 Portrait Ghosts. This refers to the fact that there are 23 portrait ghosts in the game. 5 are actually optional. Portrait ghosts are the main baddies of Luigi's Mansion. They look human-like, or at least some of them do, and are a small little puzzle that you have to solve to capture them. And they're pretty much what makes up the beef of the game, and probably people's favorite part about it. In fact, before the main events of the game took place, they were all portraits, but then the boos got released and released them into the mansion. However, the boos also got trapped somewhere after they released the Portrait Ghosts. I don't know, I think it was just a matter of the gameplay structure. Totaka's song. Once again, 2 possible meanings. First one, if you wait on the control screen before you start training, you'll hear the song, and I don't have it as an MP4 file, and I don't want to waste more space on my phone, so I'm just going to play the MP3 one I have, which is just the audio. The second meaning of this entry is Melody Panicia's unused song that she could play, which was Totaka's song. This Portrait Ghost puzzle was she would play a song from a certain video game, then you'd have to guess what it was. There are only 2 in the game, but there's a third unused one, which is, once again, Totaka's song. Hanging Shadow. Oh boy, this one. This shadow is caused due to a bug with the lighting in the camera. During the blackout, you get a call from EGAD on an actual phone. When lightning strikes, Luigi's shadow looks like it hanged itself, but it's just because of the camera angle. I'm not too familiar with the exact details, but I think I got the basics of it. If you just want to know more, look up Luigi Hanging Shadow on Google. The Nintendo 64 build. This is based off the initial development of the game, which started on the Nintendo 64 disk drive. However, after testing, the development team realized that the game was unfit for the N64 and moved it to Project Dolphin, aka the GameCube. So there could be a build of the game on the N64, but it most likely is lost and probably isn't even that good, seeing as they had to move it to a different console that it wasn't even finished. Like, just think about that for a minute. If the N64 was so weak that they had to move it to an unfinished GameCube, then the build is probably going to be really, really bad, if we're going to be honest. Rideable Poltergust 3000. In the European version of Luigi's Mansion, the Hidden Mansion has some changes compared to the other versions. Changes were made to make it harder and just more different than the main mansion. One of these changes was a rideable poltergust in the Boolosses fight. From what I've read, it's hard to control and feels like ice physics cranked to the max.
I'm also sorry about the poor video quality. This is the only footage I could find of the fight.
Hey, Luigi! What's the holdup?
When you first start Area 3, you go to the courtyard and find a well. Standing near the well, you will hear the phrase that Mario said at the beginning. This is the same well you discover Mario in for the first time. The real question is, however, how did Mario know you were there, and why is he angry about you not being fast enough? I mean, this is a haunted mansion for Toad's sake. Be patient. Photos of the ghosts when they were alive. Throughout the mansion, you'll probably notice these photos or paintings of people. While some appear to be low-resolution paintings from the 17th or 16th century, others look like photos of some of the portrait ghosts. There's Neville, Lydia, Chauncey, Mr. Wirlinda, Spooky, Nana, Slim Bankshot, Henry and Orville, Sue P, and Vincent van Gogh. It's possible that some of these paintings/portraits are of the ghosts when they were alive, so it's a little weird that they are hanging up in a mansion they are spending their afterlives in. It's like a constant reminder of when you were alive and you're dead. Explorable Lab. We all know Egad's lab, whether it be the funky beat or the fact that you can go there sometimes. We all know you can't move around in it. However, if you use an action replay code, you can actually roam around the lab. You can't do much but climb a ladder behind Egad and then fall on top of Egad. But that's all really. It's a very interesting beta discovery, but in the end, it's not too much fun to run around. Inaccessible Blackout Ghosts. So when you go to the first door of Area 4, lightning will strike and all the lights will go out. Ghosts will begin to spawn in almost every single room, and they won't stop till you turn the power back on. Why did I read it like a movie trailer? In 2 rooms you don't unlock to the middle of Area 4, there are ghost spawners in the game's data. These spawners are made specifically for the blackout, and it's strange since you can't get into the rooms during the blackout. This suggests that these rooms and the portrait ghosts inside of them could have been accessed earlier in the game. Egad was the bad guy. This refers to a game theory that Egad is money hungry, but I have a more interesting theory. So if Egad created the magic paintbrush used in Super Mario Sunshine, then he had access to it before Sunshine ever takes place. The paintbrush can create life. If the portrait ghosts are just portraits and not real alive ghosts, well, not alive, then they were painted, but by who? Egad. Just think about that. Stereoscopic 3D mode. An unused function of the GameCube was an option to turn on 3D effects without glasses. However, it ended up being scrapped due to the crystal needed to make the 3D at the time being way too expensive. The only game to be tested with this was Luigi's Mansion. In fact, during an event, I think it was Space World 2001, they had a display of the game that had the 3D option. However, no one knew you could turn it on. But the game did get ported to the 3DS, so in a way, it did get a 3D mode. If only the controls were better. Matryoshka doll. An unused model in the game's files is Matryoshka doll version of Luigi. According to a bunch of coding stuff I do not understand, this is going to be the marker for Luigi in the Game Boy Horror's map. Honestly, I wish this was used instead of Luigi's bouncing head. Safari Room Boss. Oh boy, this one is interesting. In an issue of Nintendo Power, there were a few pages for Luigi's Mansion. The game was due to release in a month, yet the pages still used old and unused renders. Some photos even showcased changes made to the game. One part of the article said that there was a portrait ghost in the Safari Room. While it was believable, it was confirmed to be an inside joke with the writers. Plus, the Japanese version of the game was already out, so we would know if it was there, but it isn't. Luigi's Mansion RPG. According to the developers, they wanted to expand on interacting with the room to make it change. They described it as a sort of RPG. Examples of this are the projector room in the Astral Hall. However, they were planning on these mechanics to be much, much bigger than just turning on a light or blowing up the moon. But keep in mind, this is sort of guesswork, but my main source for this is Beta64's Luigi's Mansion video. Check it out when you're free. Map 0. Map 0 is a test room that you can access in the game via cheats. This map is used to test quite a bit, such as enemy paths and other models. You can even see Luigi's hand used in the door cutscenes. There are also ladders and stairs that are used in the foyer. There's also a King Boo that's halfway in the ground. Going into another room has an actual King Boo. That crashes your game, so stay away from it. Unseen ghost portraits in the conservatory. There are photos in the conservatory that depict ghosts that aren't seen in the game, and I had always believed that these were created during the beta phase because the ghost designs look more similar to the beta, but it turns out that they're actually scrapped mini-bosses, and that they were going to be fought in the conservatory. So I guess these ghosts were going to be a threat at one point. I guess they were just replaced by Melody. Multiplayer mode. So we kinda already mentioned this one, but oh well. Discovered by Kirby Mimi, Luigi's Mansion has an unused but somewhat functioning multiplayer mode. It surprisingly works and can be reactivated by an action replay code. However, only the first player can make the rooms load and work, and the second Luigi has trouble opening doors. It also has an unused camera function. So yeah, the multiplayer mode sort of works, and with some extra cheats, you can play local multiplayer. Game Boy Horror Clock. In E3 builds of the game Boy Horror had a clock display. It was often theorized that, originally, you had a certain time to beat the game, or it was game over. However, the actual function for the clock was just a demo timer. Once it reached a certain number, your turn was up, and EGAT would send you back to the title screen. It was obviously cut, but you can still access it by action replay codes. Earth has 2 moons. In Area 3, you go to a room called Astral Hall. In said room, you blow up the moon to get Mario's star, which is for a portrait ghost. After Area 3's boss, you go to the roof of the mansion to unlock Area 4's door, but what's this? The moon is there, but how? We blew it up earlier. Does Earth have 2 moons, or are we just looking too deep into an oversight? The world may never know. Cave tunnel. According to the YouTuber SwankyBox, there might have been a cut tunnel. In the game, there is collision data in the boneyard for an underground tunnel. The camera also has data here too. The interesting thing to note, though, is once you beat Area 2 and light up the boneyard, this tunnel area is still considered dark. When going in, Luigi will pull out his flashlight and hum his dark room tune. It's a very interesting discovery. Chef Ghost. In a beta version of the game, there is a cut portrait ghost in the kitchen. Our proof of this is from a Nintendo Power screenshot. Yep, that's it. The tomato he is holding is still left in the game's files. He looks like a smaller version of Mr. Luggs. Anyway, there isn't much left to say, so moving on. Green toads. In the game's files, there are 2 pieces of unused stuff that hint towards a green toad originally being in the game. First, there is an unused dialogue icon of Toad. But green! Our second piece of evidence is color data for the Toad model that has green polka dots on his head. All of these hint towards an unused variant of Toad. This makes me wonder if they served a different purpose or were just color variants to separate the toads in the mansion. What if there's going to be more than just green and red? What if there would have been purple or blue or gold? Well, we don't know. Maybe we will one day, but who knows. Well, I did it. I officially made an Iceberg video. Or at least one part. Wait a minute. This atmosphere isn't spooky enough. Much better. Anyway, hello viewers, it is I, FoxLife64. Before I say anything else, I would just like to say thanks for watching this video. It took a while to make and I ended up splitting it into 2 parts, but at least part 1 is out. I've been sitting in a closet for probably the past 3 weeks recording, so yay. Also, sorry for the varying audio quality, but I was switching locations and was sick during the first part of recording. Anyway, we reached 30 and then 40 subs, all cause of this video. It ended up getting like 1,000 views and boosted my sub count, so that was cool. Next thing I would like to say is, Pikmin 4 hit 400 views and Console Bros is close to 300 at the time of recording. So that is really cool. I don't have much left to say, but you should subscribe to these channels. Okay, bye now.